Hi everyone, how are you today? It's time for another Shop My Stash. And this time I'm gonna do it a little differently because I've noticed throughout the year that anytime I think I'm gonna do a month-long Shop My Stash, I fail miserably. So I'm actually going to do kind of a summer Shop My Stash, basically a minimum of a 2-month. Maybe I'll even extend it into September. I've gone ahead and selected a bunch of products that I think are a little bit more summer themed for me. I'm going to give myself a larger window of time to try them out. I think that this is actually gonna work a little bit better than what I have tried to do in the past. The more I get into the year, the more I realize even doing every 2 months sometimes is a bit overwhelming for somebody like me. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a summer Shop My Stash. And if I feel like I've tried enough of these products earlier on and I want to jump back on here and fill you guys in on how that went and pick out some new things, then I'm at least giving myself a little bit of leeway to do that. So I hope that you enjoy this slightly different style of Shop My Stash. Please go ahead and let me know in the comments what you think. And if you're interested in hearing what I have picked out for my summer Shop My Stash, then please keep on watching. All right, everyone, let's jump in. We've got a lot to cover. But first, if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Natalia. I am doing a year-long no-buy. And if you are yourself on a no-buy or a low-buy, or if you're looking for inspiration on getting motivated to use what you already have and having conversations about new products without necessarily feeling like you absolutely have to pick every single new release up, then you've come to the right place. I would love to get to know you. I would love to have you here to join our frugal family. I hope you will consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so that you don't miss any of my future videos. And without further ado, let's jump into my Shop My Stash, which is one of the ways that I am trying to get myself to use makeup I already own more. I have so many products that I have either never used or haven't used in a really long time. So I'm trying to do Shop My Stash as often as possible. You have to make a Shop My Stash that fits your schedule and your personality. If you're somebody that gets easily bored, which is why you're attracted to so many new releases, maybe you need to do a weekly Shop My Stash or a bi-weekly Shop My Stash. I believe Kelly Gooch does one every 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. And then there are other people that are more like me and do a seasonal one. I think like Mandy Lee recently did a summer one. I know Samantha March does one every 2 months. We're all different. Watch a few different channels, see if you can get inspiration, try different things out and see what works for you. So here's what I have gone ahead and selected for this summer. So we have a bit of a summer theme going on. I also wanted to put a few of the Black owned makeup brands that I own. I unfortunately don't own a lot yet, and of course this year I cannot be buying anything new, so it's something I really look forward to trying in the upcoming years once I figure out what I'm gonna do after my no-buy. But this year I just want to test out and try out the products I do already own. In order of how I guess I would apply things to my face and how I usually go for primer, I decided to try out this COOLA Daydream Mineral Primer. It's a little sample size, looks like this, and I've had this for a long time. In fact, I think it's already expired, and because it does have some SPF, I think COOLA is known for their SPF. I don't know how the SPF is going to work in this, so I'm definitely not going to rely on this for my SPF, but I figured I'll give it a try, and if I see that there's, you know, something wrong with it. It was brand new and sealed. I used it actually today for the first time and I liked how it felt, so we'll see. I'm going to try to use more of this. To be honest, there's like a really little product in here because it is a sample size, so who knows, maybe I can even just use that up, even though it is not in my project pan. Which, by the way, for those of you watching for the first time or maybe newer to YouTube, that's another great way to try to get yourself to use products you already own, is to do a project pan. And if you're curious about what that is, I can link my project pan videos and you can just Google or YouTube search project pan and you're gonna get thousands upon thousands upon thousands of videos for inspiration. For foundation, I actually have this DR.JART, a BB cream. It's a multi-action skincare plus makeup broad spectrum SPF 45. I believe this was quite popular on YouTube maybe about 3 or 4 years ago. I don't know how much product I have. I have used this quite a lot in the previous 2 summers, and my goal is just to use what I can, if there's even anything left in here, over the next couple of months, over the summer, and then get it out of my collection. If I can't pump anything out of here, like today even I struggled a little bit, then I'm probably gonna break into this thing, open it up, see if I can scoop out whatever product is left and deposit it into a different container or something and just use it up that way. For concealer, I haven't tried my JOUER concealer, this Essential High Coverage Liquid Concealer, in quite a long time. I bought this on the recommendation of Samantha March, I guess about 2 years ago probably by now. I don't even remember when this came out. And to be honest, I like it, but didn't end up turning immediately into a super favorite. So I'd really like to try this out again and see how I feel about it now. I'm permanently on a search, even in my own collection this year, for a concealer that I actually love. Honestly, I think out of all the concealers to date that I have tried, the Age Rewind by Maybelline is still my favorite, but I haven't used that in a while, and I don't have it anymore in my collection to kind of compare it to whatever I currently have. So that makes it a little bit harder for me to really understand if the concealers that I'm currently not like over the moon about is because my preference in concealer has changed, my eyes have changed as I'm aging, which definitely I am noticing. So I have a feeling that's honestly what it is. I just feel like things are looking creepier and not as smooth and not as nice because I'm getting older. So I'm trying to get through all my concealers this year, not like to use them up, but just to test them out so that I weed out the ones I definitely don't like and narrow down to the ones I like, so that once I do go through all my concealers, if and when that happens, I can start my search already being a bit more educated. For powder, I decided to try out the Laura Mercier Loose Setting Powder again. This is in translucent. I know I've used this in the past. This is a mini size. There's really no point in me truly showing it to you. It's just like a slightly yellowy translucent setting powder, and it is very, very popular on YouTube, and I'd like to get a clear sense of what I think about it. I have it on my under eyes today. I used it one other time this week, so far I really like it, but I can't say that it's any better or worse than pretty much every other setting powder I've tried for the moment. Granted, I've been a pretty picky buyer over the years with the setting powders because I have very dry skin and I'm not really a powder girl to begin with, so I've been paying attention over the years to people's favorite powders and reasons for why they're favorite, and I always try to pick up the ones that everybody sort of unanimously says are not crepey, are not cakey, smooth out, don't dry out, things like that. So hopefully that means most of my powders, since I've bought them with a more careful and curated approach, hopefully that means my powders are all ones that I like. We'll see as the year rolls on. For bronzer, I decided to pull out a summer favorite. This is the Too Faced Sweetie Pie bronzer. I bought this last summer at TJ Maxx when this went on clearance. I don't know if they still make these bronzers. I don't know why it was in TJ Maxx, whether that means it was discontinued or not. But this is from the Too Faced Peach collection. And you know, I bought it and at first I regretted it almost as soon as I bought it because it does have a very strong scent. It's kind of cutesy packaging, and I thought, well, is this really me? I prefer simpler, sleeker things. Usually, occasionally, things like this get me. But I have to admit, I wore this thing so much last summer. I loved this bronzer last summer. It has that combination of the 2 different shades of bronze. Is it 2 or 3? Yeah, 2. It's got like 2 different shades latticed in there, and then it has like a more shimmery, almost highlighty strips in here, and then you can see there's even a little bit of blush hidden in there, and somehow that combination over the summer is just beautiful. I loved it last summer. I thought it was perfect. Now this summer I barely go anywhere because of everything that's going on, but I remember last summer this was a perfect product. Like if I just had to run out the door, I'd throw on a BB cream or something, or even just concealer, throw this on my cheeks, put mascara on and whatever, a lip gloss, and out I go. This is one of those perfect all-in-one products. I do have this on, but I have other cheek products as well, so I don't know if it's really a good representation, but this is one of those products you could totally just use on your own, and it's so easy and it's so effortless. And surprisingly enough, even though I've been pretty anti Too Faced, the only other products I have from the Peach collection are also either TJ Maxx or BoxyCharm acquisitions. I have to say I like it. I have to say I like it. So I'm excited to use it some more this summer. And then for blush, I have a whole bunch of blush that I've put aside for the summer, and I'd like to actually do a separate video on my favorite summer blushes. So from that, I pulled out 3 that I especially want to use this summer, because I know myself, even though I pulled out more than 3 for that video, I'm probably not going to love every single one of these blushes equally this summer. I'm probably not going to get to use every single one of those blushes. So the 3 that I really want to use, one is an old one that I have not used in a long time, and I'd like to see how I feel about it, and that's the Benefit Dallas. I do have it on my cheeks today. This is what it looks like. It's basically like a nude blush. It's a very simple, sorry, you're gonna hear the rain bouncing against my air conditioner. And there's really not much I can do about that. So it's gonna be noisy. It's almost musical. Like as it's hitting different parts of the AC, you can almost hear a melody. It's so cool. I'm just gonna have to film through it because I have no idea how long this rain is gonna go on for. I'm so sorry. This doesn't look like anything in the pan. I guess I should swatch it. I haven't really been swatching anything for you guys. There it is. You can see it's like a nudie brown with a hint of mauve. I really used to love this, but I haven't used it in so long. I just don't know how I feel about it anymore. So that's why it's in this Shop My Stash to remind me and let me know whether I should keep it or not. The other 2 blushes I selected, this one I've barely used. This is Becca Tiger Lily. I remember really liking it, but again, I haven't used it in a while, and even when I did, it was a handful of times. Whereas the Dallas blush, I know I used to use a lot. This I did not. So I really need to try this more and form a better opinion. This is a really bright, peachy tangerine with a little shimmer, like a little sheen. I shouldn't say shimmer. It's beautiful. The swatch is fantastic. I need to know more about it. And then one of my favorites for the summer, this I've had for years. I absolutely love it. This is the Illamasqua Powder Blusher in Lover. This is stunning. I don't know if you guys have been here with me since the winter time, since I started my channel, but I did a video on my favorite winter blush, and I have another Illamasqua blusher that was in there. They are the only 2 I own, and I love and adore both of them. They feel, I can't explain how they feel. They feel like silk, like the most fine powder you will ever touch. And this is a more matte version. You can see kind of there is a little bit of similarity between Tiger Lily and Lover, but this is more matte. It's definitely blendable. It doesn't go on quite this bright. I have no idea how these would look on a deeper skin tone, but something tells me that the Illamasqua would pop through pretty much any skin tone. You might need to build it up, but that was one swipe. It's stunning. I should do some research. I don't know what is happening with Illamasqua, if they're still around. I remember they were talked about on YouTube years and years ago, but I feel like nobody discusses them anymore, and it is a crying shame. I think these blushes are just magic. I adore these blushes, the 2 that I have. Normally, like a YouTuber would say, I should look into whether they have more shades. I'm not gonna do that because that goes against what I'm trying to accomplish here. I'm not trying to collect any more shades. I'm on a no-buy. I can't do that this year, and even going forward, I really want to try, for the most part, to use what I already have in more creative, more interesting ways for you guys and for myself. But if my makeup were to disappear and I had to start over, I would definitely want at least one Illamasqua blush if they still make these. For highlight, I chose out 3. One is a Laura Geller Baked Gelato Swirl. I love these. I have a bunch of them. This is in Peach Glow. The only one I had that I have decluttered is actually the most famous one, and that is in Gilded Honey. That's a gold highlighter, and from my skin tone, it was just way too much. But I have since gotten a few other ones. I have a pink one. I think it's like called Charming Pink or something like that. It's stunning and beautiful, and I love that for the winter. This one I really like in the summer, this Peach Glow. And then I have a little trio, like a little palette of a few other more like holographic iridescent shades that I think are also beautiful. So I definitely had to have my Laura Geller this summer. And then these highlights I used to really love, but I haven't used in a really long time. These are the PIXI highlights that were in collaboration with Aspyn Novart back in the day. Mine, this one, everything totally rubbed off. Like on this one, you can still see a little bit of the PIXI and Aspyn Novart's name down there. But this one, so clearly I've used this one a lot more because also it's more appropriate to my skin tone during the winter for sure. But right now, I think in the summer, even though I don't really get tan, I'm still always pale as a ghost, but I feel like I can get away with a little bit of a deeper highlight. So I'm actually wearing both mixed today on my cheeks. This one is in Santorini Sunset. I'll swatch these in a second. And this one is in London Lustre. So let me swatch. Where am I gonna do this? Here, I'll do it like this. We're gonna do London Lustre. I don't know if you guys can see that. They're a little powdery. I'm gonna do Santorini. Oh, this one's really powdery. I think I grabbed a little much. This is Santorini Sunset. I hope you guys can see that. And I never swatched the Laura Geller Peach Glow. You can see that one is definitely a lot more peachy. I didn't pick out anything for brows because you guys, if you know me, know I barely do my brows. And right now I'm kind of stuck in the IT Cosmetics brow pencil and Benefit Gimme Brow. And I've been pretty happy there and I still have no idea what I'm doing. Eyeliners, I chose a few and I might even try other ones over the summer. I kind of want to try to use different eyeliners more. So today I am retrying these Physicians Formula Shimmer Strips
Custom Eye Enhancing Kohl Kajal Eyeliner Trio.
So this came in a trio and I remember I decluttered one of them. I don't remember. It was the lightest one, like a gold. So I have this coppery bronze and this brownie bronze. I remember really liking them back in the day, but I haven't used them in so long. They still work. Look at that. That's still really creamy. And then here's that one. So, and you could put these also all over your eye. And then I picked out some greens because I really wanted to do some green looks this summer. So I have this NYX eyeliner in aqua green. So let me swatch that. There's that one. It's a little on the drier end, so we'll see. I haven't bought new eyeliners in a long time, so some of mine might be really, really old and drying out. This olive green pencil is the Maybelline Lasting Drama Matte Pencil in Jade Olive, appropriate. So there's that. And then I also have this Ultra Olive from Starlux. This is called a gem pencil. I feel like Starlux used to have like even their own subscription. I want to say Jessica Braun back in the day used to rave about this brand. We're talking years back though, so I don't even know. Does anyone know? Is Starlux still around? I should probably look that up before I try things out and recommend things. If you have it, pull it out. If you don't, I'm sure you don't need it. There's other ones. So this one's a little shimmery. Are we just down to eyeshadow? I think so. And then I don't believe I actually chose out any lipsticks. I'll need to do that. So let's go through the eyes and then I will choose out some lipsticks and come back with that. I can't believe I totally spaced out on that and did not choose any lipsticks for myself. That is just silly. Here's some palettes that scream summer to me, which is why they're in here. The Tribe by Juvia's Place. This has already been in my Shop My Stash back in February and March, but I just could not resist bringing this back. I think I included it in my top spring palettes and summer. It's glorious. I love this palette. Here's another one that a few people have been mentioning in their summer Shop My Stashes or best of summer. I also adore this palette. This is the Alamar Cosmetics Reina del Caribe palette, volume 1. I just mentioned this in my eyeshadow palette tag as the most underrated in my opinion. This is a perfect summer palette. I've had this now for a couple of years and I come back to this palette every single summer. It is just glorious. I think that these matte shades are great summer colors. You can see them right there. And then these shimmers. Oh my goodness, these shimmers. Can you guys see that? Especially that green one. I mean, that shade, it's not green. It's like an antique gold. I don't even know how to describe it. It's such a unique shade. And then those blues and greens for the summer. Oh my goodness. If you want to see full swatches, you can go see my eyeshadow palette tag, and I have that all on there. Another palette that I think is definitely a summer palette for me is my Dose of Colors, the Desi and Katie Francation palette. This is such a beautiful palette. I know some people love it and some people really did not like it. I do fall into the camp of people that really like this palette, and I think it's perfect for the summer because it just has such sparkly shimmers. They're just so fantastic. You can overlap and overlay them to create new colors. This is just such a versatile, such a fun palette with endless possibilities, and I haven't played with it in a really long time, so I'm really excited to do that. And then another Dose of Colors palette that I brought in here is the Sassy Siennas. I have 3 of these little 5-pan palettes, and I just feel like this one definitely is the most spring summer of the 3, and I don't know if I've ever used it. This came in a boxy charm. I think this was actually one of the palettes I included in my new and never used eyeshadow palettes video that I did a couple of months back, and it's still new and never used, so we need to change that. Speaking of other palettes that are new and never used that I also had in that video and finally really need to start using are these 2 Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes. This one is still in its sleeve. I started my Shop My Stash with this idea that every month I'm going to dedicate to a different brand of eyeshadows, and so far I've been trying to do that, but honestly this time around there were just too many things I wanted to play with that were summery for me. So I might come back and bring some of these palettes back when I do eventually a full month of that specific brand, but for now I decided to just kind of be all over the place. So for those of you that haven't seen, this is the Alyssa Edwards palette. Very fun, very colorful, while still having some neutrals. So I think this is going to be a great palette because you've got your neutrals on this end, and then you have a bunch of pops of color and then some deeper shades. I'm really excited to try this one. And then same with the Riviera. It's interesting, the Riviera palette was one of those palettes that was really hyped up last spring, I think is when it came out, and it was just so different from Anastasia Beverly Hills. Little did we know that after this palette, basically we would have an onslaught of palettes, one after the other, including so many colorful palettes because of course the whole Nervina umbrellaed brand came out, and they had both those larger and smaller eyeshadow palettes that were all about color. But this was like the first super colorful palette ABH ever came out with. And I know a lot of people were a little disappointed in this palette. I should say, I feel like most people that ended up not liking this palette very much are people that usually are neutral lovers. So this was just probably not a palette they should have bought in the first place because, you know, we all fall into the hype, including creators on here. I feel like a lot of people talk themselves into things because their friends on here are reviewing them and whatnot. So I think I bought this for those same exact reasons, but I did wait until it went into TJ Maxx, and I think this one I bought for $25. I need to finally try both of these palettes. I mean, I'm really excited about them. I just haven't made time to dive in. And then the last eyeshadows I have are the eyeshadows I own from Black owned makeup brands. I have this Ace Beauté Scarlet Dusk. I think is it Beauté or Boot or Beauté? I'm not sure, guys, how to pronounce it. I've heard different variations, but this palette came in a boxy charm, and actually it's the one I have on my eyes today, and it was also in my palettes I've never used. Today that spell has been broken. I used it for the first time on my eyes today. So far so good. I really liked the mattes. I thought that they blended quite nicely. The shimmers, I did spray them down a little bit. I can't say that they were my favorite shimmers so far, like they weren't love at first sight, but I've only used this once, so I really can't say anything I'll come back with thoughts after the summer, after I use this a few more times. Then I also have one Pat McGrath palette that I bought a while back before these went on sale. I know they went on sale and I think they're actually discontinued these by now. So this is the Subversive, the Mothership Subversive, the 6pan though. She also has the big one. I fell, I think, for the packaging. I'll be honest. I fell for the packaging. I fell for the hype. I don't have anything else from Pat McGrath. And of course, if I were to go back and do this over again, I would get something else. I know even right now, I think she's still having a sale on her website, and she's got the quads that came out. I think at the end of last year, she has those on sale. One of them is half price. And I feel like if I wasn't on no buy, that quad that's half price right now, that would have been mine, because my brain cannot handle not getting a deal. It's a good thing I'm on a no buy, because I've been drooling over that quad. I even like put it in my cart and struggling over here, struggling with the sales. I always struggle with the sales. This whole year I've been trying to avoid them. The Pat McGrath, I think, like popped up in my feed or something, and I just decided to look at the website because I've never really been on her website. I bought this from Sephora. Big mistake. Now, of course, I want everything. And then Colored Rain is a brand that I've wanted to try out for years, ever since the Queen of Hearts palette came out and made a huge splash here online. And to this day, that's one of those few palettes that I feel like has stood the test of time, because people do still bring it back, people do still talk about it, and they still use it in their videos. Maybe not every day, maybe you don't see it all the time, you do see it still pop up. It's still one that pulls at my heartstrings every single time I see somebody make a video with it or talk about it. It's like one of those palettes that if I were to ever make a video of like makeup I regret not buying, that would be on that list. In fact, I bought it as a gift for somebody before, and I still have never tried it. So last year, before my no buy, all of this long story just to let you know that last year I saw a single eyeshadow at TJ Maxx from Colored Rain, and I got so excited because I've always wanted to try Colored Rain, and it's not a color I normally would just purchase on its own. I mean, it's a really, really bright yellowy gold. You know, I have a lot of them, I'm sure, but this one, look at this one. Oh, look at that one. I mean, it is beautiful. I haven't ever worn it on my eyes. I've just swatched it. I'd like to give this a go, and I'll just pair it with something else that I have in here. And finally, we have a few lip products. I just selected very few. I figured as I go, I can always pull other things from my collection, but these are the ones I would like to get a little more use out of over the summer. This is a Sephora Rouge Gel Lip Liner in Creme de la Creme. This is a really lovely color. I have this on in that video where I talk about not buying the Natasha Denona bronze palette. So there's that lip liner, and I have that paired actually with this iconic London gloss in Love Struck, and I really liked the combo, so I'd like to do that combo again sometime this summer. So there it is, right there. And then for lipstick, I picked out the two that I'm actually wearing on my lips today. These are both Marc Jacobs New Nudes Sheer Gel Lipsticks. This one is in Eat Cake, which is really, really pretty. Where should I swatch it? I'm gonna swatch both and show you together. And this is in Screen Test. So there's Screen Test. It's definitely more like a peachy brownie nude, and the other one is more of like a corally pink. I don't know if you guys can see those. I didn't really do a terrific job. So that one is Eat Cake, and this one is Screen Test. And finally, this is Too Faced Melted Matte in Bend and Snap. I love these kind of colors in spring and summer, and I've had this one for a really long time. So I want to get a little more use out of it because I feel like it maybe needs to go soon. I think I've talked about this before. I mean, I'm not one for being a stickler to expiration dates, but with liquid products, you know, I mean, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful shade. I love this shade. It was quite popular when these initially came out years back. I still really enjoy it, so I'd like to get some more use out of it because I might need to bid it farewell fairly soon. I hope you enjoyed this pretty extensive, for me anyways, shop my stash, and I can't wait to dive in and use these products, and hopefully you'll see them in my upcoming videos. Let me know what you thought of the products I've selected. Let me know what you're using for the summer. What are kind of some of your staple products that really scream summer to you? I'll try to film some more summery videos, like maybe all of the eyeshadow palettes that I have that I feel are summer appropriate in my collection. As I mentioned, I'd like to do a blush one. Let me know if you want to see a lipstick one. I even have a whole bunch of lipsticks that I have yet to ever try, so I'd like to still do that video and then dive into those lippies, show them to you brand new. You know, as I said, I'm on a no buy. I haven't bought anything since December. So these are products I've accumulated over the years, and how embarrassing that so many of them I've never even used. That's just food for thought. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure that, of course, a lot of you guys have smaller collections and use your products more regularly. I don't even wear makeup as often as I'd like, so that's of course part of the issue. Like in the month of June, with being still at home quarantined here in New York City, I only wore makeup 3 times, I think, the whole entire month, maybe 4. But yeah, enough rambling. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for stopping by and spending some time with me today. Please, again, consider subscribing if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up, comment below, and let me know how you're doing. Let me know what makeup you've been loving this summer so far. If you're on a no buy or low buy, I'd love to hear about how it's going. I want us to motivate and support one another. Please share all of your experiences. We can learn from the good and the not so good. If you've had a little bit of a fallback, that's okay. You can just pick right up from where you left off. And other than that, I hope you guys are doing really well and enjoying your summer so far. And I cannot wait to see you in my next video really soon. Bye everyone.
And if you're interested in hearing after that noise, I haven't quite pinned down like a really strict, there's a lot of noise today. A lot of noise today. Unfortunately, I cannot talk about, oh gosh, what is happening today? Wow. Like, seriously. Have we calmed our nerves? I feel like there's this guy that's just like racing up and down the street. We'll see. It looks like the rain just started. Great. COOLA Daydream. Daydream? What is Daydream? I mean, I know it's pretty grim out there now that it's about to thunderstorm, but let's try that again. Okay, as always, I'm like yappity yap yap. I'm always going into these things saying I'm gonna make them faster, and it never happens. So let's keep rolling. To bust out my Laura Mercier setting loose this powder. Oh, well, we have a siren. And as always, as a New Yorker, I didn't even notice it until it was so loud that I couldn't not notice it. Is the Maybelline, of course, and now there's a bus. The stack, I can't talk. I just can't talk today. What am I trying to say? Who knows what I'm trying to say?